This is Mark Whitten.
This is Adam MacArthur.
This is Ann Yatko.
Hey everybody, this is Michael Yurchak.
This is Erica Harlicker.
This is Daquan Wilshire.
This is Rico Fajardo, and you're watching.
And you're listening to Spoiler Force Podcast. Set your heart ablaze.
All right, so this is episode 141 of Spoiler Force Podcast. My name is Ricky, and thank you for tuning in. As you can see, I have a full panel for just Chainsaw Man Season 1, the anime review. We are only discussing the anime, maybe bits and pieces of the manga if we just do comparisons, but nothing too crazy because I haven't read the manga yet. So, even though it's Spoiler Force, I'm restricting some spoilers on this episode. But I'm so glad to start off this year with this episode. I have Bobby, my nephew Logan, Michael, and Salem on the episode on just geeking about Chainsaw Man. I cannot wait to discuss this with them. So we're just gonna dive right into it, man. Just nothing. We're not gonna go in no particular order when it comes to just the anime. We're just gonna talk about our favorite things, maybe some dislikes, comparisons to the manga, maybe, and then favorite characters and so on. So I'll just start off with my overall thoughts on this show. I thought it was above and beyond in what they've released years prior when they did the trailer. I know that Mappa was loading themselves with like all these shows, and so Chainsaw Man was definitely one that I had high expectations for, and they did not disappoint. So I absolutely enjoyed it. But Salem, what are your thoughts on just the anime itself overall?
I think Mappa did an excellent job. I don't know if you guys know that Fujimoto is actually a huge movie buff, so the fact that they did multiple outros for every episode and just kind of made it cinematic was amazing. I loved that part of it. Plus, we got some real bops from it. I have a whole Chainsaw Man playlist at this point. Comparing it to the manga, I mean, they did it almost frame to frame. I do think Fujimoto's art is leagues better than the animation. Just lends to the medium, it is going to be better. So if you really loved Chainsaw Man, the anime, definitely go check out the manga. I mean, the artwork that he has in there is incredible. But other than that, I really, really enjoyed all of it. I think the translations were pretty good. Other than that one slip up they had in the Future Devil episode, but they did correct it. I think it was great. I mean, I couldn't have really asked for a better animation of this manga.
And then Bobby, what were your thoughts on the overall season for Chainsaw Man?
I loved it. Great anime, great storytelling, great everything. I mean, like Salem hit on it. The intro itself was they showed the clip of where they drew inspiration from all the intro, and it was just pretty cool, spot on how they twisted it. They kept it how it was, but then twisted it to their own. So, but yeah, all in all, just great show. I can't wait for the next season to come.
And Logan, what are your thoughts?
I would say season 1 was probably one of the best things I've ever witnessed. It was pretty good because like Bobby said with the intro, it was like really good and everything. The thing I found that was really good though was how they have all these separate endings and they're all so unique in their own way, especially with all the other artists and whatnot. I find that really impressive.
And you, Michael, what are your thoughts?
Oh man. Overall, I think they did outstanding job with everything. Just to piggyback off of everyone, because they all said it, and I agree with every single bit of it. The art style. Now, I haven't read the manga, but I really want to because I've just started to learn a lot more about Fujimoto's works and his pacing with everything. And honestly, that's one of the things I really love the most, which is something that a lot of people had problems with, is the pacing. I think the whole like kind of pause for effect approach they went to it gave more for the story and the world building aspect of it versus just like, oh, straight action here, action there, action here. So I think they did a fantastic job. I know that Fujimoto's known to kind of push the boundaries as far as like kind of making you a little uncomfortable with it, and I think how Mappa didn't hold back on, well, minus the censoring of the vomiting, which I'm grateful for. But no, yeah, that the musical direction, it just kind of sinks you in. What Logan said, like how every single outro had a different song, and each outro it was contextual to what happened that episode. So it's like you never just like you never feel out of place with it. So overall I think it was amazing. So
I really like the points that you guys brought up with the intro, because me and Bobby were talking about it, how there was like bits and pieces from like referencing like Pulp Fiction or some of the like more cinematic stuff that's classic movies that they had in the intro. And then with all the outros, man, like each song was different, each animation style was different. It's definitely more modern. It's not like the typical shonen anime where it's like a very hype intro then a very sad outro. It's all
Yeah.
different. So I really enjoyed like this take that Mappa has done with the show, because like you were saying, Michael, like there's boundaries being pushed in the show. It's not too crazy, but it makes you think that, is it really shonen when you're watching this? Because there are like some themes in here, like even in just the first 12 like just the one season itself, like there's already a lot of brutality in it, a lot of blood and gore, and a lot of sexual themes in this show, for just young characters going through this. And then we see Denji's like mind on just like being a young teenager who hasn't experienced the world, getting everything all at once, and I think that's what made me really draw into this story, because now we're getting to see like something more adult-esque into something that's made more for like teenagers or for young adults. It's definitely more like how I like to compare it to like Attack on Titan, kind of. It's definitely giving more of a realistic touch on these characters than just like the typical like Naruto or Ichigo and stuff like that. But for characters, man, I gotta say, as much as I like Denji, I also didn't like him as much. I thought I would like him more, but I didn't like him as much as I thought I would. So I'll just start off with Salem. Out of the characters that we've seen in this first season, who was your favorite?
So I think a lot of people felt like you did with Denji, which is no surprise. And I feel like I should have felt that way, because I never liked the pervy characters, like, Mineta, like Meliodas. Those characters never appealed to me. In fact, usually they kind of like, okay, I'm done watching them do their thing. But I feel like Denji is done in a way that it's not creepy. It's more of like just his inner monologue, and he's never like groping people or like, making people uncomfortable. It's more of he's thinking, how am I going to make a girl want me to touch her? So I feel like that is my baseline for like, okay, I love Denji just because the manga is about him, but it's more about like him figuring out what true human connection really means. And we see that in a ton of different ways. Like his connection with Himeno, for example, is really controversial, but it is important. Same with Makima, his relationship with Aki and power, like a sibling dynamic. I think he's really fleshing out someone who comes from no connection and trying to figure out connection through all these other characters is really, really great to watch.
Oh wow, man, you hit the nail right there. I think that's something I kind of overlooked. I think I was more focused on like, why is he all about boobs and like being such a simp,
Pervert,
like,
right.
like, because like it's almost like every other episode, his goal is to just like, I want
Right.
Makima, like I
But
want
from
to touch her
someone who
boobs.
has like no family, he's never had
Right.
a connection. I feel like, especially in like the modern age, really, when you think about it, if you have no connection, I feel like the first thing you would think of is sexual connection, because that's what you see so often in media and all of that kind of stuff. So I feel like Denji only has that to go on, but he's really searching for something deeper.
Yeah, definitely. Like I think that's what makes this character kind of stand out to you in this show, because it's definitely relating to more of the kids of the modern day. Like Logan, you're an example of this. Like, not saying you are pervy, but that you grow up with people like the kids in your age group are like this. They're discovering this shit, whether it's online or social media or the movies. Now they're like, man, I really want to know how boobs feel like. That it's just unfiltered dialogue that Denji has, and I think that's what makes me kind of like turn off a little bit, because he just full blown like I want to do this, and he'll just go do it. There's no second thought, or there's no like consequences in his mind. He's like, I want to do it. How do I get there? And I'm just gonna jump for it. But excellent point, Salem. I think that's great that you brought that up. Bobby, who were some of your favorite characters in the show?
I personally like Makima and Denji. Denji, I get where you guys are coming from with Denji about the pervy and everything like that, but I think it's just portraying him as a kid. 'Cause you all were guys at his age. You all had a point in your life where you're like, how do boobs feel? And everything like that. You weren't to the extent of that level, but you were curious. So it's kind of like that. And then they're just portraying it in that sense. And you got to think about, like what Salem said, like he came from a no family and, going through all this hardship and everything like that. And all he really wants is boobs. So it's okay. He just wants boobs. So, but as far as Makima though, I think the mystery behind her is what really is why I like her as a character. I know you and I talked about it, Ricky. We're trying to just see if like, is she good? Is she bad? Does she has other intentions? Like the way they just like portray her in the anime is just you're trying to figure out like what is she doing? Like what's her goal? So.
And you, Logan, who in this first season, who's your favorite characters?
I would say maybe Power, because like Power is just that lovable idiot. Like sure, she's a jerk face half the time, but like she has her moments with everyone else.
I absolutely. Oh, go ahead, Logan.
Oh no,
Sorry.
that was all I was gonna say.
I wanted to add on to Power. She was one of my favorites too. Like she definitely brought a lot of excitement to her character, because right off the bat when you see her, she's just like, what do we do, and then when she sees the devil, like I'm going, she just launches off the building and just fights. Like there's no controlling her. She's just a wild card. But I do like that they kind of touch up on her backstory to show you like why she's like that, and she's in a way very similar to Denji as well, not really having or still learning human connections and trying to just live normally in this body that she's in. And then when you see the moments like with her and the cat, like you kind of see like maybe she's not like as bad as she is. She does have some sort of connection to living beings. But I think what Power brings is a lot of the comedy relief. Like I love when she wore the glasses and she was like, she thought she was smart just because she had glasses on, and then they got their asses kicked anyway. But yeah, and we'll go on to Michael. We'll talk more about Power, but Michael, who were some of your favorite characters?
Firstly, I'd probably say, well, kind of sucks that I go last because all y'all hit the same points that I wanted to say. But I'll start off by saying, hello, you're a resident degenerate here, so I identify with Denji a lot. But just his man, y'all hit it on the head already. I won't waste time, but just seeing his growth. I think one of the scenes that I liked the most was after he finally got to grope Power, and how he just felt empty about it. He's like, this is it. And that's just kind of like it was comical, but there was elements in it that really accelerate his growth. He's like, okay, well, I finally got what I thought I wanted, but I realized it's not what I wanted. And then, in comes Makima, who kind of shows him that there's the reason what he wants is something deeper than what he thinks he wants. So I think that kind of like hand-holding growth is one of the things I like about those two. So probably Denji and Makima too. And I do, Bobby pointed out, but I've come to learn that I really love misdirection in shows, that they just kind of like make you think that they're okay, but they kind of like implant seeds of doubt as you're watching. So the mystery of that is kind of like drawing me into no one said Aki or Himeno. I like them. They get an honorable mention for me. It's just mainly, I think Aki's redeeming part was the last episode, the tournament. And then yeah, so.
Well, I do want to, I guess, piggyback on that. Aki, I did like Aki a lot too, just because of like his reason on why he's a devil hunter. Like everyone who would want to seek revenge or find some sort of justice, like he doesn't care, and he wants to just beat the gun devil and get his revenge. But at the same time, like you also like a lot of these characters, like Salem said before, they're all seeking some sort of familial connection, right? So when you see Aki with Denji and Power at his apartment, even though they're a complete mess, like he's still like in some funny way, like he puts up with them and treats them like as if they're siblings, and he has to like teach them how to wash their dishes and clean up after themselves, so he has to be a big sibling to them. But I also like that even though Aki has like this tough exterior, deep down he's just a soft person. Like he's very emotional.
He became a father to 2 toddlers overnight.
Yeah.
All thanks to his boss.
Yeah.
But Himino as well. Like I
Oh,
had a
man.
emotional attachment to Himino, even though what happened to her, I was like, oh my god, like why? But yes, Himino was probably one of my favorites too. Just because it's more than just the whole, over sexualizing of her, and more than just that. I love that her connection with Aki was like very like drawn out in the show, especially when Aki's reading the letters and then the cigarette that she wrote on from. I man, that was just pulling my heartstrings right there. Like that. Go ahead, Michael.
Can I add something onto that?
Yeah,
See,
yeah.
Again, the part with the misdirection is just you with Himeno, because you obviously know that there's some kind of bitterness or animosity towards Makima from her, and you see that, but you think we're gonna get to see some kind of growth with that, but they don't. But the thing is, they make you like her so much to the point where like you want to see that develop more. So I liked that she had like some history with some of them too. So,
and I do like that in this show that a lot of the devil hunters that we don't see but are mentioned, like they do care about these characters, much like Attack on Titan. Like these lives are, they're important to our characters. It's part of their growth, and that's why I like when Himino was like, I got to make sure Aki doesn't cry again. Like that was so important to her to make sure like he doesn't cry, because he's lost so many teammates or people that he's cared for. So I think like these, just seeing how well developed they are, and just within like a few episodes, and how deep these characters are, I enjoyed it a lot. But Salem, can you answer this question for me though? I was confused on this part.
Yes.
So the part where Aki like beats Himino's spider devil,
The ghost devil.
the ghost devil.
Mm-hmm.
Can you explain that? Because I still didn't really get it. Because I understood like he it wasn't by fear, but then I couldn't grasp that concept.
So the way a lot of it's interpretation too. I actually had to explain this to my husband. He asked me the exact same question. So from what I understand is that, they do explain that the ghost devil only can see by fear, right? So the second that what we assume is, so if you notice in the previous episodes, Himeno controlled only the arm of the ghost devil. We see that when she like wraps Aki up and stuff with the arms. So that arm that's extending to give Aki that cigarette is presumably her arm that she controls. So technically a part of her. Giving Aki this cigarette that he knows the symbolism behind. It's her. She's saying it's easy revenge because he doesn't have to be afraid because it's her in there.
Okay.
So he no longer has to fear because one, he knows how to beat it because he had to be jolted back and be like, okay, what did Himeno tell me? It only sees by fear. He gives the cigarette that's like, hey, it's me in here. You know how to do this. You can do this. Easy revenge. So then he's able to do it quickly without the ghost devil seeing him. That's how I interpreted it.
Oh, I'll take it because like I watched that episode like twice. I still didn't get it. I'm just like, I need someone to explain this to me.
Yeah, I think it was more of her like pulling him back down to earth. Like, hey, this was a huge loss. I know, but you know how to beat this. You know how to do it. I've told you, you can do it. Easy revenge. And so he's able to do it quickly.
Perfect.
I know some people do think too that she was in control at some point and just had the ghost devil not attack. But I just feel like a ghost devil is probably a bit more vicious than that. So maybe it was just being jolted back to reality.
I think the way I interpreted it was he kind of just came to terms with dying, and so therefore fear is kind of released through that scene, that flashback. But I think your interpretation is much more like, because I didn't even realize about like how she could only control the arm of the ghost devil. So but man,
yeah, and I love hearing everybody's interpretations. That's what's so great, is that you can hear a million different ways some like a scene went over, and I love all of them. Like they're all totally, like most of them are really good and kind of open up perspectives. I feel like it's just wherever the person watching is at, just kind of gets to watch, because of course I've read the manga, so I've read it like 4 times now, so my perspective is going to be super different from someone who's just watching for the first time.
But speaking on these devils though, like the fight scenes in this show, Mappa again shows up and shows you where they put their money at, because each fight was so good in this show. Like even in the first episode, like just seeing Denji being Chainsaw Man for the first time, fighting the zombies, to the seeing the devils in action, to even at the end where he fights Katana Man. Like I knew Mappa was gonna blow it out the water. I didn't think it was gonna be like that good, because I thought they were at least saving the budget for like Jujutsu Kaisen, or for maybe a little bit for Attack on Titan, but guess not. They just went all out with a Chainsaw Man. So Salem, we'll start with you. Was there a specific fight scene or like something that the animators did that you enjoyed in the show?
I have a personal grudge against CGI. But to be fair, Mappa does do it very, very well. The blending of the models into the background looked phenomenal. So I have a little bit of bias from Attack on Titan when they made the Titans. Was it the Armored and the Beast? They looked a little funky when they were moving around, but they did really, really, really well with Chainsaw Man. I would say the fight that's my favorite is honestly the one against Kishibe, when they deploy Operation Super Smart. I know that's like not the coolest scene, but I just think it's showing that growth with Power and Denji. Like they're really trying to use their brains, the little bit that they have. They put their brain cell together and really came up with a good plan. And you also get to see Kishibe, who becomes more important later on. Like his skill level is so out of this world compared to them. Like we see Denji fighting these crazy devils, like 100 zombies and Katana Man, and we see all these cool contracts with all these other devils, and yet Kishibe seems to be able to just take them out immediately. So I think it's a really cool kind of way to introduce him and his power level.
Perfect. And you, Bobby, any favorite animation scenes or fight scenes at all?
Ooh, where to start? I mean, him becoming the Chainsaw Man is probably up there. And then when he fought the Katana Man, yeah, those are probably my 2 favorite ones so far. The training, like you said, the training between him and Power, trying to kill trying to kill, what's his name? I forgot his name already. That was a good fight scene right there, where they're just trying to figure it out and the strategy that came for it. So, but yeah, all in all, I think those are my top 3 that I can remember right now, that I could think of.
What about you, Logan?
I would say my favorite scene would probably be when he went against the Eternity Devil. When he went to the pit and it showed like the brutality of what Chainsaw Man is going to be. And then like my second favorite would probably be when they kick Katana Man's balls over and over again. they animated it like it was like one of those sentimental scenes in a movie, and I love that so much.
Revengeful.
I was not expecting Aki to be a part of that. I can see Denji doing it, because he does it to Aki when they first meet. But to see Aki join in, like, all right, I'll step on his balls too. So like that was just
seeing that growth was it's like I didn't know whether to cry or to laugh, because it's just like it's.
What about you, Michael? Any favorite animation scenes or fight scenes?
I like this group because we actually all have different favorite fights. Although I do like the first scene, because I watched that like at least 10 times. When he first transforms into Chainsaw Man. Even though I think that was probably the most evident of it's the CGI is kind of like a little too much there. But I think I'd have to say my top 2 is number 1, after he fights the Bat Devil and then the other devil comes. and then the whole scene where was it the other devil, the bat's wife or whatever, throws what was it,
The leech.
yeah, the leech
Yeah.
devil, and like throws the car, and he's like Denji's all like, I don't care about humans or whatnot, even though he saved the man. It be between that and that's my number one. I'd say a close second would be Kobini, when she goes after the katana devil and the girl. Just seeing her, like, you don't expect that from her. It's the first time you see her like move and her actions, and just her fearlessness, like just really quickly jumping over, running on the snake and grabbing the gun and shooting. I think the animation from all that was like very, very spot on. So
Can I add one that's not necessarily a fight scene?
Yeah.
Makima, just exploding people.
I was thinking about saying that.
They do such a phenomenal job of, because up to that point, we haven't really seen her do a whole lot with her contracts. So I think the way they animated that really showed the eeriness, and like something is really off. You know what I mean? Where you're like, oh my gosh, like she is so strong. And they did a phenomenal job, not only with the music, but with showing how utterly terrified those people were once they realized what was happening.
If you want to start your own podcast like Spoiler Force, then sign up with Buzzsprout. Buzzsprout has helped hundreds of thousands of users like me to begin their podcasting journey. With easy-to-use tools, you can effectively get your podcast onto different platforms like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon, iHeartRadio, and more. You can view your stats, create audio clips, and even have your own podcasting website. Buzzsprout offers ideas, tips, tricks, and tutorials to help you improve your podcast. Follow the link below, and once you sign up, you'll get a $20 Amazon gift card. This will let Buzzsprout know that I sent you and will also support Spoiler Force Podcast. If you want a simpler way to record both video and audio for your podcast, then sign up with StreamYard. StreamYard is the perfect program to create podcasts, host live streams, and even do video calls. There are many tools that can help you create and design your own personal studio. You can screen share, read live comments, and stream to different destinations like Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. You can also download your video and audio once you're done with your recording session. Follow the link below, and once you sign up with the basic or pro plan, you'll earn a $10 credit to use for StreamYard. Happy podcasting.
Also, like how it's like they kind of knew already too, because part of their goal was, number one, apprehend Makima, which they thought they did, and like it's just this whole like, but also we as the audience right now, we're viewing all of the it's just this really uncomfortable scene, because we're seeing that all the protagonists being like defeated or being taken out one by one, and you're like, oh crap, like what the heck, what's happening? And then all of a sudden, like Makima comes out and just like I was told to get ready for that scene, and I don't think anything could have prepared me for like how like devastating her abilities are. So
Her standing back up on the train is easily one of my favorite panels in the entire manga. It's just so eerie and terrifying, because we don't know what's going on. Like, what is happening?
I think with Makima, the Seiyuu does such a great job of like bringing her character out, because she's so not so much stoic, but like Salem said, she's very eerie, and it's very, as viewers, we look at her, we can't say that we really trust Makima at this point either, especially like at the end of that episode where the previous guy that worked with him before he quit, he was like, what did you do, or what do you know? She's like, well, I can't tell you, you don't work with us no more.
He asked how much of what you expected came to be. So
I think the conversation between her and Kishibe towards the end of the season is also really important, where she's like, I just want to protect as many people as possible, and he says, you're a liar, and she just smiles.
Yeah, I mean, even from the get-go, like before, I've only read like a little bit of the manga before the shows premiered, and even then, like I was very weary of Makima from the get-go. Like she is too cool to be like, oh, she's like a Levi or Erwin type character. There's something sketchy about her, and I think they do it very well with this show to keep you on your toes about her, to not fully trust her, but you're still wondering like, man, how just how powerful she could be, because it's not only just her power, right? Like it's what she can do, to like how she communicates with people, and like how the scene where she's like, we have your family's eyes in this bag, and like she can really turn the tables on you if you don't work with her. And so I think she instills fear into like whoever she's with, and so like you can't really double cross her even if you wanted to.
She's
Yeah,
eerily calm.
Yes,
she-
exactly.
She's that mob boss that like never ever slips up, but because everyone already knows, like, she doesn't need to assert any dominance or power, because she knows she already is like that badass. So it's
I think
Yeah.
finding out through the other characters' reactions to her,
mhm.
like how you feel about Makima, is one of the most amazing parts of Chainsaw Man, because it's not necessarily us witnessing things alone, it's also watching other people in the story like respond to her. Because I mean, we see Sawatari, she's the snake girl, and Katana Man both go immediately once people start exploding, like, where's Makima? So we
Yeah.
already know that they know something. I mean, the guy that works with her knows something. We don't know what.
Mhm.
They're too afraid to call her out. It's like,
Right.
we're just gonna take our orders and go with it. Bobby and Logan, did y'all have anything to add about Makima since we're talking about her?
No, I mean, I think the mystery behind her is what's keeping me like interested. That's why she's my favorite so far. So you don't know if she's good, she's bad, or what her intentions are. So I mean, all you know is she's after the Katana Man. So, but yeah, I keep the mystery.
I'd
Logan, did you
say
want to add on?
I'd say it's kind of scary that the fact that you have to be blindfolded to not see what devil she has contracts with. That is
Mm,
really scary.
Big red flag, you would think.
Yeah.
yeah.
I also wanted to add like one of my favorite, I guess, animation scenes is when Aki drew his sword, and when like right when after he makes that contract with that new devil that's in his eye, and he starts going off on the ghost devil's arms, and like it had so much Attack on Titan vibes to it for me. Like it's like seeing Levi go off on the Titans. Like I love his movements, the sword movements, just like something like as simple as premonition. It made it look so cool just seeing him go off. And then another good scene was just, as much as I hate to say it, was Himeno's death. Like that whole sequence of her and fighting the snake devil, and them just trying to survive in that moment was so heartbreaking for me. But I loved the animation for it.
It was a death that didn't need to be gruesome to be really hard hitting.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, but was there, I guess, since we were talking about favorite moments, was there, I guess, in the anime, was there any moments that, or even characters that you may have disliked? I know we all talk about good things about this show, but there's always got to be a little bit of something that we don't like. So Salem, we'll start with you. Was there anything that you maybe disliked in the show?
I only have one major scene that I wanted to be a lot cooler, and that was when we see the Curse Devil. In the manga, it is such a cool design that Fujimoto uses, and it has to do with like the shading and his art style. The Curse Devil looks insane, but I feel like in the anime, he just kind of looked like a blob, which I thought was kind of lame. But I mean, it's just little designs like that I'm like, oh, like the artwork looked so cool compared to like what happens. But I know things get lost in animation, but that is one that I was like, oh, that is such a major loss, because character design for the devils is one of the crowning achievements for this kind of art. The way he makes the devils look are phenomenal, and a bunch of devils that we see later on, I hope they look much better than they made the Cursed Devil look.
What about you, Bobby? Any favorite or any moments you disliked, or any characters that you disliked?
Well, I don't want to say I dislike them. Power annoyed the crap out of me, but I understand why she is who she is and why she is who she is and everything. But yeah, I mean that's probably the only thing that I guess you could say I didn't like. But I mean, it's not I didn't like. I just found her very annoying. So
What about you, Logan?
I don't really dislike anything about the show because it's one of my favorites. Even this is very biased of me, I know, but like I just can't find anything to disagree with other than the fact that Denji is just a pervert. That's probably it.
Okay, that's fine. What about you, Michael?
You know, I'm kind of with Logan on this. When I see something that I like, it's hard for me to like find something that I don't like unless it's just like in my face. So I'd probably say apparently the only thing I would dislike is the alleged the butt nerf for Makima. Apparently, it's probably it.
I gotta agree.
I guess I can say for me, a character that I couldn't really wrap myself around was Kobani. Like even she was, you know, when you first see her being introduced, she's just very whimsical, scared, and always screaming and stuff. Even when she had that turnaround, like I still looked at her. I'm like, like wasn't satisfied with how her character was. Maybe I would like her more in the show. But I think other moments that I probably maybe not hated, but I wish they showed more of like the I guess the fiends. I know that we got to see a glimpse of some of them towards the end of the season. I would have loved to see. Yeah, I would have loved to see more fiends.
I do take that back. I do wish we could have got to see more of the fiends too.
Yeah.
Because they show them in the opening, you know, especially the angel fiend. Like I want to know more about them, all of them, and they all seem to have like their own like quirk or whatever. But that's one thing I'm really looking forward to. So.
Yeah, I think maybe just that, but then, you know, for it being 12 episodes, though, I think it's a good enough tease for us to want more and definitely to come back to this show. And that's obviously why I want to read the manga after I catch up with Jujutsu Kaisen, because there's so much in this world now that that's being shown. Like I love the open-ended ending that they had for this manga or for this season 2, because it wasn't something that wasn't like really wrapped up, and then they show you the teaser at the end with the next character that's been revealed. But yeah, was there anything else you guys wanted to add on? Like maybe, you know, was there anything else that you guys enjoyed about the show that you guys like to talk about, or any like I guess any of the, you know, something about like the themes of the show and whatnot? Salem, we'll start with you.
Yeah, I have something about Kobeni because I love that you mentioned her. I think she's an incredible starting point to look at familial bonds for all of our characters. Like I said, human connection is a huge theme in this. But specifically, there's a ton of familial stuff that we see, because we see Aki's family neglecting him essentially because he has a very sick younger brother. We see Kobeni's family, who told her she can either be a prostitute or a devil hunter, and they truly don't care about her or her well-being. We see Denji, whose father killed himself and left him with debt. Like clearly they weren't very well off anyways. So, and then we have Power, whose only family really is Maui. So I like looking at all these characters because we do see how they interact with each other, but we also get background on the connections they already previously had, and that kind of informs their character and how they approach things with other characters. So I find Kobeni extremely interesting. I almost found her as interesting as Makima because her contracts are a secret, and that immediately piqued my interest. I'm like, why are her contracts a secret? And then we do see her kind of pop off in one of those episodes. So I remember reading that and being like, what is her thing? And so I'm really intrigued by Kobeni and kind of feel for her, because I mean, I feel like that would be a majority of normal people in that situation.
Oh no, I would totally agree. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think it's just a good kind of branching off point where we can kind of look at these bonds that they already had with people who are supposed to be the best first connection that you have is your family. And we get to kind of see how they're pummeling and tumbling through life, trying to find something better because those initial bonds were not it.
And I do want to add to that too, with this connection, with the human connections. It's kind of ironic that like they seek human connections, but they make contracts with all these devils that give them these incredible abilities, but it's at a cost, you know, like the devil that Aki got, you know, they told him, you know, this devil, you don't know what he's going to do to you. He might take your senses, he might take half your life, you know, and then all he does to Aki is like, "Oh, you're gonna have a really shitty death." So I just want to see what's gonna happen to you.
It's gonna
And
be amusing.
yeah, so like it's like the overall theme of connection is it plays it like now that Salem's brought it up, like I see it now, which is great because it's great to see that all these characters are having connections, whether it's good or bad. So they might have it in the wrong places, you know. So I think that with the show they portray it really well, and it's not like too much in your face. It's very subtle, and I think one of my favorite connections, which we should have brought up first, was between Pochita and Denji.
So
You know,
sweet.
Oh my
yeah,
God.
I absolutely loved when when you see Pochita like tells him like, well, my dream is to see you succeed or to be a part of you too. So when just that first episode, like that's what got me
Man.
hooked on this show because Pochita gave himself to Denji to be his heart, and I think that right there, I was hooked.
Pochita sees something in Denji that he wants to thrive, and I think that's kind of the whole manga. I mean, we're all watching to watch Denji thrive. Hopefully, at some point, we'll see.
Bobby, did you have anything you wanted to add at all?
No, I'm good on my end. I can't think of anything right now. You guys are hitting everything already. So
What about you, Logan? Anything that
Same
you want to hit
here.
on?
I gotta agree.
That's fine. I guess since we're talking about the Devils, like, were there any of the? I guess just season one. Any Devil contracts that you guys would choose? Salem, we'll start with you.
Whatever Makima's got. That's
Of
what I
course.
want.
I'll take what she has.
Yeah. I think a lot of it is really interesting too, because I think the way Fujimoto frames these things is really interesting because I mean the future devil, which is the one Aki got, makes sense, right? It's he sees a couple seconds into the future. That's a pretty standard future thing. Then we have chainsaw devil, which somehow equates into Denji, exploding chainsaws out of himself and basically becoming almost immortal. We see him get shot, and he just kind of grows his brain back.
He gets cut in half.
Right. He gets like all of this mortal damage, and he's totally fine as long as he's revved up. And power can make blood weapons and stop bleeding sometimes. So I just think that all of these contracts are really creative ways to build powers in this world.
Bobby, did you have any? Was there any? I guess contract that you would like if you were to pick out of these characters?
I don't know, man. They're all pretty shitty contracts.
Yeah.
Like, do I want to lose an eye, an arm, and whatever?
Afterlife.
Yeah.
Happy life. Yeah. Every time you. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know, dude. That's none. To be completely honest,
That's a fair answer, actually.
I like all my limbs and I like to keep them intact. I mean, if I was to get a Pochita, and that's cool. I'll turn it into a chainsaw man.
You got to get stabbed a bunch and die first, though.
Yeah. See, that's pretty brutal too. I don't know about that now. I don't know. Yeah, no, probably not.
What about you, Logan?
I'd say maybe the fox devil, because if all she does is just take away your skin, okay, I can deal with that. I'll do it.
Say that now.
One devil I would like to mention that I would not even want to see at all would be the zombie devil, because that is such a crappy contract. You gotta become a zombie
Yeah.
in the first place. That is so bad.
What about you, Michael?
I would probably have to say Gon too. It's pretty badass, just to like, that and probably I mean, because I feel like there's some the whole thing with, because we don't really know the context of Denji's power, the contract of it and all that. We do see throughout the show that like he does lack like some empathy. He does lack some kind of like his heart and all that. We do get a few glimpses of that. So I think as cool as that would be, like it would kind of suck to like just not be able to feel anything. But yeah, I'd probably have to say Makima's power. But I don't want to backtrack, but I did want to say a few things in the last round about like some of the things I did like about it. So we can come back to me for that
No, you can say it now.
after? Okay.
You can say it now.
Yeah, sorry. I just one of the things that no one really said yet that I personally really loved about the show is just I said it before, but like I guess the pacing of it. And I've heard that in the manga, Fujimoto will do like panels, like a whole spread of just the same shot with like minimal changes, just to like kind of like emphasize on the pauses, emphasize on like the just the breather. And I think like when you see the last scene where Aki's smoking that last cigarette, it's like awkwardly long, but it feels right, just kind of like him like coming to terms and just the emotion that he's going through. And I guess also I'm a nut for these things, but like seeing him like make the coffee and make all the food and everything like that, just the way I could, if I could say, it feels like something. It feels kind of like a Sundance film, kind of like independent paced. But altogether, I love the pacing of it.
That Aki
and
scene
those.
is actually anime exclusive, so I
Oh,
think that
was
was
it?
a phenomenal choice on their end to kind of focus on Aki a little bit more and give you a routine and
Oh,
how it's gonna
okay.
get destroyed by Denji and Power later.
So even the cigarette scene was anime exclusive.
The cigarette scene was not, just his routine.
Okay.
And
Okay.
making the coffee, getting the paper, like, all of the leading up to it, which made that smoking of the cigarette feel kind of more drawn out and more powerful.
Because that scene, when that moment came, it hit me hard. I was just like, man.
I think with Aki's character, I enjoyed that he's able to just still try to be normal, knowing that there's so much chaos going on, especially in his job. So like he doesn't he doesn't mind cleaning up after Power or Denji. He just wants them to try to be more human. Don't like I like when he tells Power like make sure you flush the toilet and stuff like that. Like don't clog the toilet and stuff like that. He's teaching Denji how to be clean and how to wash dishes and stuff like that. So it's he still kind of holds on to more of the human side of things, even though there's like all these devils roaming around and stuff like that. So I think I really appreciate that of Aki's character. It's like just very humanistic.
I think too, part of that is sorry.
Oh, go ahead. That's fine.
Showing Aki, kind of showing these two devils how to be human, also kind of pulls him back into reality that his life isn't just revenge based. There are things that he enjoys and that he is showing them because they're important. And I think that kind of balances and maybe pulls him back to, okay, yeah, like I want revenge, but this is also like, this is fine. This is nice.
Yeah, that's what like I like to, because he's so focused on like for his little brother. He's kind of like blessed in a really ironic way that he has two more awkward, crazy little siblings with him now too that he has to take care of and watch over. But on the last round we were talking about like the curses. I think for myself, what I would choose, it sounds kind of fucked up, but I really like the snake devil, even though you
Just
get killed at the end.
fingernails. You just
Yeah.
No, dude,
fingernails.
no.
I mean,
it looks like she's in pain when they kind of evaporate off of her, but
Yeah.
like I just liked how they displayed the snake power. Like that shit was crazy, because even Himeno's ghost power, like they in a weird way, they didn't even know how to fight it off. They just try to survive. So I think the snake devil was pretty intimidating at first, up until where you see her get killed. And then but yeah, I think these contracts though, it's insane to see that you'll get all these incredible powers, but at the cost of your humanity. And I think kind of like Attack on Titan too, like you're risking yourself for a cause that you're going for. And I think that's what I like what Chainsaw Man too. Like they kind of show you that you can have all this power, but is it going to be the cost of your life, your sanity, your connections with people? Like what are you willing to sacrifice or throw away for just absolute power?
they're all very selfish reasons. And I think that's one of the few animes or even mangas that I've seen where almost every character has a self-serving desire and it's not a greater good mentality.
Speaking of that too, though, I do want to add a little bit about the gun devil here, like, because apparently this is the the big boss or the main antagonist that we're all trying to figure out. Because even Makima has something that she wants to do with the gun devil. She told Denji, like, if you kill this gun devil, I'll let you do whatever you want to me. So it's definitely a big deal in this overall show. So Salem, I'll have you go last on this one because I know you know. So Bobby, what do you think will happen, with this whole gun devil thing?
Oh man, to be completely honest, I have no idea. Yeah, I don't even know where to go with it. To be completely honest, like I'm assuming they're gonna introduce him soon, hopefully. But I mean, kill him. I mean, that's still where the show's gonna go, right?
Because in the show they haven't really like even teased them. They brought up the name that you see who's
Yeah, they
serving them
showed
and
the
working with them.
bullets and all that other stuff, but
and
they
the
haven't
guns,
gone
like
into
how they get weapons, but like they haven't
go in-
shown the character yet.
Yeah, so it's kind of a mystery. You're kind of getting this aura about him, but you don't know anything about it, and so you're just trying to figure that out too. So, I mean, the information they provided is not enough to me to make some type of conclusion on it in a sense. But I really don't know what's gonna happen. Like all they know is everybody's after him, so that's what they're trying to do. So,
And Michael, what about you? Your thoughts on the gun devil?
I same as Bobby, is like they don't really give us enough to like really form a a cohesive stance or opinion or view on him. It's just kind of like he's right now he's kind of just like the boogeyman. Like everyone's talking about him, and you're kind of like he's a big deal. But one thing I do like about the choice of doing a gun devil and how everyone kind of fears the gun devil is actually because in Japan the guns are outlawed there. So like the fact that when people there have guns, it's kind of like seen as like, oh, they're they're bad guys or they're killers or whatnot. So just seeing that, like knowing that about the Japanese culture and like them seeing the gun devil as all guns being tied to it just kind of like all fits into this idea that guns are the devil.
All right, so again, Logan and Salem have read the manga, so please try to keep this minimal. But Logan, we'll start with you. From what you've how can I word this? I guess just if you can without spoiling, like, is the gun devil like? I can't really word this without having spoilers.
Don't ask questions.
So,
I don't want the
so
answer to.
I guess
You don't
okay.
have
So
to ask it, fine.
I guess what are your guys' thoughts on how they portrayed the gun devil in the anime? Then was it pretty much similar to the manga? Logan, we'll start with you.
I would say it does leave like a mystery at first in the show. Like it definitely leaves an imprint like, oh, the gun devil's so important and everything because everyone's like looking for chunks of this guy for God's sake. So I think they did pretty well.
And in Salem.
I will say the gun devil is in an outro. I won't tell you which one, but he's in there. But I think with Makima front and center, I feel like even with the anime, even when I was reading it, I just couldn't care too much about the gun devil because I was so interested in what Makima has going on. But it is really cool the way they you don't ever see him, but you see what he does essentially. Like we see that they shoot Himeno because they have guns from the gun devil. We see that he's just causing like a ruckus within Japan. And I really love the scene where they're in the restaurant and they hear gunshots and they don't, like, one of them's like, oh, is there a festival? Is that drums? Whereas like, in America, we're so different. Like we would immediately be like, oh, gunshots? Like what's happening out there? So it was just a really cool cultural difference that you can see. But the way they do it is not necessarily in a way that feels over dramatic, but realistic.
Yeah, so I think this is a good point to kind of just leave the mystery of the gun devil. Eventually, we will see him, but then I am interested in this character because I do like this whole cultural thing that they have, because he's like in America, giving out guns to people, and I mean in today's age, there's all like with the school shootings and stuff like that, so they kind of play with the reality of things in real life and kind of blend it in the anime. Like, this is why, like, I love this part of fiction where, like, this is why we have guns outlawed in Japan, but now they're in here and we have to find a way to stop this. And so it all plays out to, like, there's just one overarching villain that's like controlling the distribution of guns and bullets to people. So I really
For
like
money.
that aspect.
For
Yeah.
money, nonetheless.
But I think with this show, man, even for just 12 episodes, they've shown so much, and I really just appreciate that, they didn't overdo it either. Like, I don't know how I'd feel if this was a 24 to 25 episode season. As much as a lot of us would like it, I think it would have definitely hurt the animation for sure. I think the budget would have been different had it not been 12 episodes. I guess, was there any like last thoughts on just this overall show? Any other topics you guys wanted to bring up that we haven't discussed yet? Salem, let's start with you.
I mean, the only thing I can think of is like really, really, really encouraging people to go read it. I mean, all the volumes are out; they're all available. There's only 12, so I mean, it's a super easy short read. And seeing the difference between the art style and seeing it come to life, because we all know when you're reading manga, the fight scenes, you're just like, oh, people are punching, something's happening. It's hard to follow. But seeing it come to life and seeing Fujimoto's kind of cinematic way that he does the paneling transfer into animation is really, really incredible.
And what about you, Bobby? Any last thoughts or topics you want to bring up for Chainsaw Man?
No, I just can't wait for the new season to come out and for them to continue with it. So gotta find something new to watch until it comes. So.
What about you, Logan?
I don't really have anything to add on either, to be honest.
We're all pretty just satisfied with our answers here. What about you, Michael? Give us something.
Vondi Chainsaw Blood slapped like a mother. Just I play that song so much, and it fits so well into the first episode to kick it off. Again, music direction, everything. Even just like the soundtrack that was playing when they played it multiple times. Anytime there's like a sentimental part going, like when Denji was first transforming into Chainsaw Man, it kind of, me being, I'm really big into music and just how the music and the scene like makes you feel, and I think that they really delivered on the sound direction of Chainsaw Man. I don't know if that's the right answer, but that's all I could pull up.
That's fine.
Just it's great. I love this series so far, and I definitely will. I told myself if I really liked how the anime went, I would. As some of you might know, I don't read manga, but this is the one that's going to get me into manga. Because not only this, but not only this, I've heard of like Fire Punch, another manga by Fujimoto that is one to read as well. So.
It's very, very strange, but it's very good.
Yeah, I read the first volume and I was surprised that I bought it, and it's interesting. Don't get me wrong, it's interesting, but there are parts in that first volume. It's just like, whoa. So
it's a lot. It's a lot.
Be prepared to read it. But I guess one more topic I wanted to bring up was just the fight between Katana Man and Chainsaw Man. Seeing Denji's growth, not just as a character, but his skill set as a fighter, being more smart with his abilities. Because as we've seen with him and Powers training, like they use a lot of their blood, and apparently that's a big drawback for them. So having learned their lesson from just going straight in every time for the kill, I love seeing that Denji applied his tricks and what he's learned from his training to beat Katana Man. Because when he first fights him, he gets wrecked pretty easily. Yeah. Chainsaw Man or Denji really relied on his healing abilities and his immortality to beat Katana Man, but on their second fight, he really used his wits, and that's what I really enjoyed about that fight. But yeah, as I guess this kind of ended a little bit sooner than I thought, but I really do appreciate everyone's thoughts on this show. Like I said, I was very excited to have every single one of you on to just talk about Chainsaw Man and to just kick off 2023 with this amazing panel. I'm very thankful that Salem, you jumped on right away. I'm happy to have Logan on. Of course, Bobby and Michael, just to talk about this anime, man. I cannot wait for hopefully the second season comes soon. If not, we should just all read the manga and then have a manga panel review instead.
It's funny because one of the things that got me back into watching anime was when you wanted me on one of the episodes, and that kind of gave me the drive to start watching so we can discuss it. That might be the push I need. So
for sure. Yeah, I honestly I would love to have this group. If we find time to just finish the manga, I would love to have this group come back and we just talk about the manga, because that way we can hear all of Salem and all of Logan's thoughts on just the show.
I
just
can really
the
go
story.
into my scholarly themes and all of that stuff.
But yeah, if for anyone who wants to follow Salem or Michael or Bobby, I'll have their links in the description below. Make sure you guys support them as well. I'm glad to have all of you guys back on to just talk about Chainsaw Man season 1. And Salem, I hope to have you back on it. I know with Attack on Titan coming again soon.
Yes.
I want you back on the show so we can talk about Attack on Titan.
It's gonna be a wild last part. Hopefully the last part. If they split it up anymore, I'll just die.
I hope that they just leave it at part 3. If they go part 3 and then like a trilogy movie right after, oh my god, there's gonna be so much stuff happening. But yes, this is episode 141 of Spoiler Force Podcast. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Follow Salem, follow Bobby, follow Michael. Make sure you guys support their work and their craft as well. But that's pretty much it, man. I really just enjoyed geeking out with y'all about this. So again, thank you guys so much and have a great day. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to give a review and rate Spoiler Force Podcast. If you want to get all Spoiler Force updates or even peeks at behind the scenes, you can join the Spoiler Force Discord community. And if you'd like to show support, give tips, recommendations, sponsorships, or any collaborations, you can email me at rickyvang92@gmail.com.